we go. Today we are going to be talking about 10-6 using the quadratic formula. So the objective is to be able to solve quadratics using the quadratic formula. All right, so the quadratic formula, basically you just have to memorize this and get it in your head to be able to use it. So negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And the square root, you can also call it a radical. That would be the proper definition for a square root, which would be the radical sign. So one of the cool little things I've heard in the past is, and I'll do this one in green, so I'm going to say the saying and I'm going to write it as I go. So listen up. So the saying goes, a backwards boy couldn't decide whether or not to go to a radical party. The boy was so square he missed out on 4 awesome chicks. And the party was over by 2 a.m. So, you know, it's kind of fun, something to remember. So, there's a quadratic. Memorize it. You have to memorize this. There's just, you got to do it. All right? Good. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to use the quadratic formula to solve for x. So I'll write the quadratic, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, this is a, 3 is a, 39 is b, 108 is c. So basically, the main thing you have to do before you use the quadratic is make sure it's equal to 0. And in this case it is. So go. So negative b, which is 39, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so it's 39 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 3, c, which is 108. Make sure it's all under the radical sign, all over 2a, which is 3. All right, so I have no clue what 39 squared is, so I'm going to put that into the calculator. All right, so 39 squared equals, and I'm just going to do some scratch work here, 1521. So 39 squared is 1,521, and then I'm just going to go minus. So when I put it in that radical over there, I'm just going to figure out what it is. So 4 times 3, 12 times 108 equals 1296. So that's the 39 squared minus 4 times 3 times 108. And minus, good, so this equals 225. So I just solved it here, so I get the square root is 225, and that's all over 2 times 3, which is 6. Just write 6. Good. Not negative. Good. So when I simplify these numbers here, and bottom left here, that's just scratch work. I can erase that. Good. So I have negative 39 plus or minus the square root of 225 all over 6. Good. So 225, if I square root that, good. Thought it was, but didn't want, it's 15. So I'm going to rewrite this. Negative 39 plus or minus 15 all over 6. All right, so the only really tricky part here, which I don't even think it's really tricky, but you just have to do it basically. The negative 39 plus or minus, that plus and minus part. So you have to evaluate the problem and go through adding 15 and then go through and subtract 15. So you can either, if you want, you can use a calculator or you can just do it in your head. Sometimes it's just easy to do it in your head. So negative 39, we'll do the plus first, plus 15. That equals negative 24, and divide by 6 equals negative 4. So I have x equals negative 4, and then let's do it with subtracting 15. So negative 39 minus 15 equals negative 54, divided by 6 equals negative 9. Done. So x is negative 4 and negative 39. So you can see basically with the quadratic, the reason we show you the quadratic is because, or the quadratic formula, sorry, is given any single quadratic form, the form there, ax squared plus bx plus c, you can solve for any quadratic, any single one at all, because you can insert all those numbers. Now these are huge numbers, so to factor these would be not impossible, but not something I would want to do. Those are big numbers, right? That's a lot of factors of 108, right? So you use the quadratic when you can't see it off the top of your head. So if you can't factor something immediately, meaning you can't, if you can't look at it and go, yep, I can factor that to this and this, then go to the quadratic. That's going to work every single time. This will work. The quadratic formula will work. This will work for every single quadratic equation equal to 0 that's in standard form. So ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0.